I am part of all that I have met. Yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untravelled world, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Every year, senior pupils at high schools and public schools must decide that important question, what to do next. Some carefully plan their courses, selecting the appropriate subjects at both intermediate and leaving stages, so that their subjects will be of greatest value in the career they have planned for themselves. A wise pupil will discuss with parent and teacher every phase of the selected or proposed career, but it often happens that one is prone to be influenced by some one attractive feature of a position or profession to such an extent that the real basic considerations are not investigated until it is too late. The film Teachers of Tomorrow illustrated the stages in the training of a primary teacher. The training of a secondary teacher also commences with the selection of suitable subjects during the high school course. Some students prefer science subjects, others subjects in arts such as languages, histories, and mathematics. Once having gained a secondary studentship, the student proceeds to the secondary training center at the university, where he specializes in one of these several faculties. Let us see some of the secondary students from the country who live at the Girls' Hostel, which is located at Frank Tate House, Dandenong Road, Armadale. Conveniently situated in an outer suburb, these spacious quarters are most comfortable and provide every facility for study and well-being. While in residence, students are under the care and supervision of a matron and expert staff. On the first floor are the students' quarters. Bedrooms are light and airy and well furnished. Rooms in some cases are shared by several students. Adjoining each bedroom is a study where they may work in complete quietness. Some senior girls have a bed study room to themselves. On the ground floor are the living quarters, kitchen, lounge, offices, and dining rooms. Excellent meals are served in the most modern of dining rooms, comparable with the best guest houses in the city. Students spend many happy hours in complete relaxation. Note particularly the homely touch which is so characteristic of every side of life in this hostel. Here coffee is being taken with the matron in the lounge. Every morning students make their way to their real job of work at the university, which is located in Carlton, one of the inner suburbs of the city. The grounds are extensive and form an aesthetic setting for the buildings which house the various faculties. Parklands, well-kept lawns, trees, and shrubs provide those recreative facilities so desirable for students. Some of the courses available and which may be taken by intending teachers include arts, commerce, science, agricultural science, music, and engineering. And it's to this quadrangle that students first make their way. On the right is the registrar's office, where one must enroll and have one's course approved. Directly ahead lies the university library, where most students will at some time during the year seek reference or do some quiet study. Here we see the catalogue, where books may be traced under author, subject, or title. At the desk is the reference librarian who is assisting a student with an inquiry. These students are selecting books from the shelves and taking notes. A special teacher's science degree aims at qualifying a student to teach all branches of science in a secondary school. The science faculty includes subjects such as geology, mathematics, biology, physics, and chemistry. In the chemistry school, a talk is given to the students prior to commencing their laboratory work. The lecturer explains the theory and principles which will be the basis of the practical work to follow. This section of the class is performing elementary inorganic practical work. The girl in the foreground is weighing a sample for quantitative analysis, and the other two are performing qualitative test tube reactions. This system of study and investigation, followed by practical work, is a recognized method observed in secondary schools. It is in this way that these students, who will eventually become secondary teachers, acquire skill and knowledge to enable them to pursue their careers with confidence. The Commerce Building is the edifice on the right of the main entrance from Swanson Street. Teachers of commercial subjects receive their training in the Commerce faculty, and subjects studied may include accountancy, economics, commercial law, history, and industrial organization. The engineering faculty is located in the brick buildings situated at the southern end of the university grounds. The engineering faculty provides tuition in subjects such as mechanical engineering, mechanical drawing, properties of metals, chemistry, and physics. Many teachers who complete this 4-year course will teach in technical schools where the artisans of the future are trained. Once again, it is noted as we move from laboratory to laboratory that practical work plays a very important part of this training. There is an increasing demand for this type of student in the highly technical and mechanical world of today. At the conservatorium, students of the music faculty study singing, piano, and other instruments in theory and practice. Usually, students who complete this course take charge of the musical education in secondary schools. The Bachelor of Agricultural Science degree is of 4 years' duration, and the building housing the faculty is on the west side. The second year is spent at Dookie Agricultural College, where both the theoretical and practical knowledge of the science of farming by modern methods is taught. Administrative buildings, a science laboratory, as well as classrooms, provide the necessary facilities for instruction. This group is examining the effects of rust or smut on wheat in the open fields. First-hand knowledge is gained at harvest time, as the crop must be stripped by students at the college. The bags are filled and sewn and loaded for transport to the barn for storage. In the arts faculty, the subjects studied give a solid teaching background for secondary teachers, and it should be remembered that almost half of the teachers in secondary schools are employed in teaching them. On successfully completing a degree, the first year of the Bachelor of Education is commenced. History and principles of education, psychology, and methods of teaching are some of the subjects studied. Much time is spent in the School of Education library, preparing material for lessons and working out original and interesting plans for lessons. Much of the work is done around the table by discussion instead of by straight lecturing. Here is a group of students discussing Dewey's ideas on education. Students are introduced to modern aids in education and advised of the proper technique in using and operating them. Each student, on completing the year's course, will be able to screen educational movie films with a modern 16mm projector. Ability to sketch and write well on a blackboard is a great asset in teaching. Here, 2 students are illustrating French and German lessons on Christmas. One of the most interesting subjects in the Bachelor of Education course is comparative education, where the school systems of different countries are studied. The countries generally dealt with are Britain, the United States, Russia, Germany, and Japan. Here is an incident in a session on Russia, where peasant industries are being described and a Russian doll is shown as an example. A girl who is recently at school in that country helps in the demonstration. She shows how a Russian scarf is worn and then points out to the lecturer that the doll is really 12 dolls, each in turn fitting inside the other until the tiniest one named Katinka is reached. Often a group of students will discuss a practical exercise which involves going far afield. This group is engaged in an experiment which will deal with the education of migrant children. The members of the group are shown paying a visit to the camp at Summers, where they are spending half a day with pupils who have recently arrived from other lands. They're finding out something about the difficulties these children have in learning to pronounce English words. Naturally, one of the most important tasks is learning to teach a lesson to a class. First, a demonstration is given by a skilled teacher. As the lesson proceeds, the instructor comments to his young teachers on his method of tackling the lesson. Later, the teacher discusses various methods of initiating the presentation of this social studies lesson with the students in a round-table conference. His method of attack is also further discussed. A student then takes over the class and reveals his ability as he gives the lesson. If a student has the knowledge, a good way of describing things in a vivid fashion, and a pleasing personality, he soon masters classroom methods and makes good progress in teaching practice. This is another example of the guidance given in the practice of teaching. This time the lesson is science. An experienced teacher, skilled in modern methods of presenting material to a class, first talks the lesson over with the student and helps him work out a plan for effective teaching. The student then gives the lesson, which in this instance is to a bright and capable class at University High School. At the conclusion of the period, the experienced teacher will tell him how he fared, the emphasis always being on help rather than criticism. Students find the university a fascinating place, not at all a secluded cloister of learning, but a center of ideas and diverse activities. The Union House provides for students a fine, well-equipped building with normal club facilities. It makes provision for meetings of clubs and societies, which between them represent almost every conceivable form of student interest and activity. The cafeteria is the hub of the Union, where most of the students meet once a day as they discuss their problems over a cup of tea. The Union makes it easy for men and women to get outside the limits of their own faculty and to meet other men and women doing very different work and with very different views. The university is well equipped with sporting facilities. It has a number of tennis courts for men and women, and in most sports, inter-varsity, inter-club, intercollegiate and inter-faculty contests provide ample competition. The main oval is available for cricket, football, athletics and baseball, and on the outer reserve, hockey, lacrosse and rugby are played. However, the first duty of the student is to become proficient in the course he is studying. It is at the Secondary Teachers Training Center that all students meet. This center, like the affiliated colleges, provides a headquarters for Education Department students. Here they are advised about their courses. Personal records and details of their studies are kept for reference. Here paychecks are issued each fortnight. Though conditions at the university are pleasant, much study and hard work are necessary, and on account of this fact, special tutorials are given at the center to assist departmental students to complete their courses in the minimum period so that they may graduate and then commence study for first-year Bachelor of Education. It is on the completion of first-year Bachelor of Education that students may be appointed to one of the many secondary schools that exist in the state of Victoria. Here they commence their teaching career, and their pupils, in their turn, may eventually graduate to responsible positions in the community.